The weight of silence envelops the prison, a heavy blanket that muffles the world outside. As the day begins, the echo of metal doors clanging shut reverberates through the halls, a reminder of the lives confined within. Faint murmurs scatter like shadows among the inmates, voices tinged with a mix of hope and despair. The narrator's voice cuts through the stillness, describing the stark reality of these walls, a place meant for punishment, yet brimming with stories of struggle and resilience. Behind these walls, the narrator reflects, each inmate carries a past, a burden they cannot escape. As the sounds of guards' footsteps grow louder, a sense of anticipation fills the air. Soon these voices will emerge, raw and unfiltered, inviting us into their worlds. It's a journey through pain and reflection, a search for redemption in a place where humanity often feels lost. But amidst the silence, there's an echo of hope waiting to be unveiled. As the harsh reality of prison life envelops them, Marcus, Ella, and Leon find strength in sharing their stories, each voice revealing the multi-layered tapestry of their lives. Marcus, once a promising athlete, reflects on a moment of heated passion that spiraled into tragedy, a misstep that shattered his dreams and altered his identity. The echo of sneakers on a basketball court now feels like a distant memory, replaced by the silence of his cell. Ella, a devoted mother, recounts the desperation that led her down a dark path of drug trafficking. Her heart aches for her children, and through her words we feel the weight of her choices and the fierce love that drives her to seek redemption. Leon, marked by his gang affiliations, grapples with remorse as he recalls the lives his decisions impacted. Together they navigate the complexities of regret and resilience, forging connections that illuminate their shared humanity within these unyielding walls. The clanging of metal meshes with subdued conversations as inmates shuffle through the corridors, a symphony of resilience framed by the stark reality of life behind bars. Each day unfolds within the same monotonous patterns, yet each moment holds a story. Marcus recalls early mornings when the sun filters into the yard, a sliver of brightness in the sea of gray. The routine is both familiar and suffocating. Meals are served in plastic trays, the clatter echoing against concrete walls, while the yard becomes a battleground for power dynamics, with eyes constantly scanning for confrontation or camaraderie. Ella shares her experience of discovering solace in small rituals, arranging her meager belongings, counting down the days until she can reach out to her children. The tight-knit community that forms among inmates creates a fragile bond, offering a glimpse of hope amid despair. Shared laughter during yard time, whispered encouragements behind closed cell doors, and a collective resolve to endure together. As the days stretch into months, Marcus, Ella, and Leon often find themselves confronting a profound sense of isolation that lingers within the prison walls. They share their hearts, revealing the stark reality of loneliness that gnaws at their spirits. In the communal spaces, laughter may erupt occasionally, but the underlying silence serves as a heavy reminder of the connections lost. Marcus remembers the warmth of his family's presence, their voices now reduced to echoes in his mind. Ella speaks softly of her children, their smiling faces haunting her dreams, fueling her longing to hold them again. Leon reflects on the camaraderie he once had with friends outside, but now feels adrift without those bonds. Their words intertwine, painting a vivid picture of longing and despair, emphasizing the crucial role that connection plays in sustaining their resolve. Yet, amid the solitude, a flicker of hope emerges, igniting the desire for meaningful relationships forged within these constrained lives. As the days wear on, the weight of their past choices bears heavily on the inmates. They gather in a dimly lit room for a group therapy session, each face etched with the struggles they carry. Marcus, staring at the floor, shares his darkest moment, the day he realized they weren't just his mistakes, they were the chains binding him. His voice trembles as he unveils the pain of regret, sobs breaking the silence that usually hovers between them. Ella recounts a devastating night, a pivotal moment that pushed her into a life of desperation and compromise for her family's sake. Their stories intertwine, revealing the vulnerability lurking beneath their hardened exteriors. As they listen and support one another, a fragile bond begins to form, a lifeline in their isolation. With every shared confession, they inch closer to confronting not only the demons they've faced, but those they have yet to conquer. As the days blend into each other behind the walls of confinement, the inmates gather for group therapy, a lifeline amidst the isolation. The room is filled with a hushed tension, each face a canvas of guarded emotions. Marcus takes a deep breath and finally shares the weight of his guilt, his voice trembling as he recounts the moment that changed everything, the rage that spiraled into irreversible consequences. Ella, seated beside him, offers a nod of understanding, her own story echoing his pain. In this space of vulnerability, they delve into their fears and dreams, the children they miss, the futures they yearn to reclaim. It's here that they grasp the healing power of connection. One by one, they share their stories, tears flowing freely, laughter erupting unexpectedly. With each confession, they chip away at the walls around their hearts, discovering that together they are not just inmates, they are survivors seeking redemption. As the sun sets beyond the fortress walls, Ella finds refuge in her thoughts, pouring her heart onto the pages of letters addressed to her children. The muffled sounds of the bustling prison fade into the background as she reads aloud, her voice trembling with emotion. Each word is a bridge, connecting her to her past, filled with laughter and love, and her present, a stark reality of remorse and longing. I miss your smiles, your laughter. I'm so sorry for the choices I made, she confesses, tears streaming down her cheeks. Other inmates, gathered in the dim light of their communal area, listen in silence. They too share letters, revealing their vulnerabilities and aspirations. Through pen and paper, these messages transcend the cold walls surrounding them, offering a glimpse of hope and a desire for a future that feels just out of reach, a future where love and forgiveness could reignite their lives. As the days passed within the concrete walls, a sense of camaraderie began to blossom among the inmates. In a world often defined by isolation, they discovered the power of shared experiences. Conversations stretched late into the night, weaving together stories of loss, hope, and dreams deferred. Inmates formed unforeseen friendships, defying the narratives that labeled them as mere criminals. Leon spoke of the creative writing club, where he met Marcus and Ella. Together, they explored words as a means of expression, each penned line serving as a lifeline in their confined existence. They shared literary critiques alongside heartfelt reflections, building a supportive community that nurtured their healing. Moments of laughter punctuated heavy conversations, reminding them of their humanity despite the stark surroundings. In this brotherhood and sisterhood, they found solace, each connection solidifying their resolve to transform, not just for themselves, but for each other, forging a collective path toward redemption. Leon leans back against the cold wall of his cell, his thoughts spiraling back to the choices that put him here. He recalls the pull of gang life, the allure of respect, loyalty, and power, but now it feels like a distant memory, tainted with regret. He shares how every tattoo tells a story, but those stories now feel like chains binding him to a past he wishes he could rewrite. With a heavy heart, he reflects on the impact of his actions, not just on himself, but on the lives of those around him. Friends lost to violence, families shattered by grief. There's a deep longing within him to seek redemption, to emerge not just as a survivor, but as a mentor. As he speaks of his dreams to help others escape the traps he fell into, a flicker of hope ignites inside him. Perhaps this prison, once a symbol of despair, can become a forge for transformation. The air was thick with anticipation as the evening of the talent show approached. Inmates buzzed with excitement, rehearsing their acts late into the night. For many, this event represented more than just an escape from their daily routines. It was a much-needed opportunity to express their true selves. Marcus felt his heart race as he prepared a spoken-word piece that captured the essence of his regrets and aspirations. Ella practiced a song that spoke to her love for her children, a heartfelt message she hoped would reach them, even from behind bars. Leon took on a mentorship role, encouraging younger inmates to summon their courage and share their stories. Laughter and camaraderie filled the halls, breeding a sense of unity among those who often felt isolated. As the lights dimmed and eyes turned to the stage, a collective breath was held, the promise of hope and resilience shining bright within these walls. The atmosphere in the prison transformed as inmates readied themselves for the long-anticipated talent show. Excitement buzzed through the air, mingling with the usual sounds of clanging metal and distant voices. Marcus, feeling the weight of his past, practiced his spoken word piece in the shower, each verse a cathartic release of his buried emotions. Ella, nerves fluttering in her stomach, strummed the guitar she had borrowed. Each chord resonated with her yearning to connect with her children. Leon, usually quiet and reserved, took on the role of a supportive cheerleader for fellow inmates, encouraging them to embrace the stage as a platform for self-expression. As the lights dimmed and the first performer stepped forward, laughter and applause echoed through the hall. For a moment, the walls that confined them seemed to fade away, leaving only the rhythm of their hearts and the promise of hope in every note and word shared. The night of the talent show arrived, pulsating with anticipation as inmates prepared to bare their souls before an audience. The air was thick with nervous energy, a tangible mix of fear and excitement. Leon took a deep breath, stepping into the spotlight, feeling the weight of his past and his newfound purpose converge. As he recited a poem about regret, the raw emotion in his voice resonated, each word a cathartic release that echoed through the hall. One by one, the inmates shared their art. Ella sang a heartfelt song for her children, her voice trembling yet powerful, stirring tears among the audience. For many, it was more than a performance. It was an act of reclamation, a declaration of their identities beyond their crimes. The walls that had confined them began to dissolve, if only for a moment, as their artistic expressions unlocked doors to understanding, acceptance, and the hope of change. In those fleeting moments of vulnerability, they discovered the courage to embrace their truths. As the prospect of parole looms closer, an air of both hope and uncertainty blankets the inmates. Each morning, their shared routines are punctuated by conversations filled with dreams of freedom, moments when the weight of their past feels both burdensome and distant. Marcus reflects on his aspirations to reconnect with his family, envisioning the embrace of his children's laughter once again. Ella's heart races as she imagines walking out of those gates, determined to build a life anew for her children, using her experiences to foster a better future. Leon grapples with his desires too, contemplating the responsibility of sharing his story with others, hoping to guide youth away from the path he once chose. Their conversations intertwine, a blend of nervous laughter and heartfelt sincerity, as they dream together. For each of them, the prospect of reintegration represents a fragile promise of redemption, yet the fears of what awaits outside still linger, casting shadows on their dreams.